Good morning, Giants. Maybe we can this morning continue the thought and the conversation about language, and just going into the idea of what language is and why we need it. I don't know if I'll go into what it is, but why we need it, I will. Um, I once heard that the most powerful word in the English language is the word imagine, because what it does is it puts a person in a situation. So when I'm doing sales, I'll ask people to imagine what it would be like if something occurred. And in doing that, their brain fires exactly like it would if that thing were occurring. And so they're able to put themselves in a situation without actually being there. It's like a simulator. Um, my question for you around language would be, what would your world be like if you didn't have access to language? What would be occurring if I couldn't communicate words to you through the screen right now? What would we be doing? It would be an awkward. Let's try it. Let's see if you can understand what I'm saying here. It would be awkward, right? There would just be nothing. Language gives meaning and significance to things in our lives. As humans, we are meaning seeking creatures. We want to understand our world. There's a thing called pareidolia, where we see images in, well, it's like the face of Jesus on a piece of toast. We look for similarities and patterns and designs, and then we try and make sense of those. Our brain is a sense making organ. And so as information comes in, it puts it all together and puts it into a format that we can understand. But imagine that. Imagine that occurs and you don't have language for it. Would there be an event? Would there be an occurrence? I would posit that no, there wouldn't be. Without language, our life has no meaning because we don't have the ability to give it meaning. And so often people think that the world shapes their beliefs, but the reality is our beliefs shape the world. But how can you have a belief without language? It's vital. It's important. How can you have creation and understanding and agreements without language? It wouldn't work. We would have events and occurrences in our world, but we wouldn't have explanations for them. We would probably not get much done. We would live at an animal level where we just exist, maybe at a basic level. And so think about the importance of language, the words that you use. The vocabulary that you have is there because you put it there. You developed that category over a long term and you put that into your brain so that you can draw from it as you need it. And there is no limit to your capacity to do that. You can learn any language. You can learn unlimited languages. You can learn any word. You can learn the grammar, all of it. And so the only thing that limits us is that we think we've got enough and we feel like that's plenty for us to move forward. And so what I would challenge you to do is increase your language. The other day I talked about Einstein and his capacity, and his brain was no bigger than yours or mine, but his glial cells in the neocortex and the hippocampus were substantially larger than yours and mine. And that's because he filled his capacity with things that you and I might not have done. It doesn't mean that we can't. It just means we haven't done it. And so you have unlimited capacity in your brain already to learn anything you want. Language allows us to store it in a way that makes sense for us and bring it back up when we need it to create. And so as I write books or talk or write articles online, I'm drawing from this pool of language that I've put in there, and I'm using that to create with. Whenever I write poetry or anything else, I'm drawing from that knowledge base that's already in there and stored and pulling it back up. Even the comment of the word imagine being the most powerful word in the English language, I put that in there in my brain. Let's see, how long ago was that? It was 11, 12 years ago, and it's still as fresh today as it was then. There was a book that I read about it, and just resonated with me, loved it, kept it, used it. I've used it in sales over and over, so I've seen it as an effective tool through my life, so I hang on to it. That's what we're doing. As we go out there and seek knowledge, as we pursue information, we're filling our capacity so that we have more to draw from when it comes time to create. And so whether that's language or math or engineering or anything else, any information or knowledge that you want is available to you. All you have to do is put it in the bag, so to speak, so that when time comes, you're ready to draw from that bag to create what it is you want. And language is one of those things that you can continue to add to throughout your life. And so find ways to increase your knowledge around language. If you don't speak another language, I speak Japanese, or no, I don't speak Japanese. I speak Spanish, but I also can speak backward. Anek yes draw cab. It's a random thing, but I could say words forward and backward. Push your brain to learn a language in a new way. Learn another language because it causes you to think differently. I've heard that if you are struggling and you speak another language, switch over to that language to work through the issue because it takes the emotion out of it. You have to be logical and think through the words, and so there's no emotion involved. And so just a fun thought here this morning I'm having around language, how important it is, how our worlds would not exist without it, how Helen Keller had no idea what water was until somebody taught her that that was water. That cool something flowing over her hand was water. And so continue to just put information into your capacity, into your knowledge, into your bag, so to speak, so that you have more to draw from. There's so much that we can create. And the only limitations we have, like I said, some say that the world creates our beliefs. Well, it's our beliefs that create the world. And so those beliefs are moldable. And so a belief, if you look up the etymology on it, means to hold something dear. I love looking up etymology. I want to know the root of a word, where it came from, where was it used? Passion means to suffer. Perfection means to perform and to complete. And somewhere along the line, we've twisted these words to mean different things, and they still have that meaning because we gave it to them. But originally, they were used a little differently. And so look up the etymology on the words that you use. Understand what you're saying and why you say it. Be consciously creative about the words that you choose to put into your brain, because one day you'll pull from them and you'll be able to use them in creating something new. I think that's it. A little bit of a rambling this morning about language. Just curious about it and watching videos, reading books, entertaining the idea of language. There's no limit to what I can put in here. The capacity is more than the internet could ever give me. So I could store it all. The question is, what do I want to store and what do I want to use for my creations? And so think about that today. Have that be your giant thought of what can I do? What language can I put into my head to draw from, to create with? And how can I go about that? So you guys make it a giant day. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you on the next video.